Hi, I'm back again with this another issue that we have to work here. Last time we worked on adding the K6 load test and profiling the J profiler. We looked into that thing. So now we're going to work on the this particular issue. So which is we need to add three different endpoints. Okay. So which will facilitate us to get the account details, which is the get endpoint, and then the we also need to update the accounts some information. So we have the patch, and also we need to get the histories of that account. So there is another get. Okay, so let's get started on that. All right. So we also have the OpenAPI specification. Hmm. So first thing we have to start here it would be writing the OpenAPI specification. All right. So let's go back to the project, and I think it's the issue 10. So let me create the branch 10 and move from there. Fine. So to do this, the first thing we need to do is we need to have the contract, right? So since we are trying to build this thing, so first thing we have to do is the contract. Uh, so let's add one more path for this since we are having the a new endpoint, right? So the API V1, I think, and then the V1, and then the account. So with the account number, this is the thing we want to do here. So basically, it will be a account number, and this is what we want to do. And then the second thing I would be doing here is we need to define the things that we want to take from the as part of the contract, right? So fine. All right. So what is this? And this is the get. So we'll have get, and then let's give the tag, which is actually the account tag, right? So this will be the account, and then since this operation is related to the account, we are giving this tag as account, and then summary would be get account detail. Right. So we'll take the account number and give the so operation ID would be, let's say, the get. Fine. Okay. So create and get the request body. What we are trying to do here is like we don't take any request body on this since this is a get request, and then we want to give the details of the account. So instead of request body, we are going to take the parameter. Okay. So a name would be the what is the parameter name? Name would be something like the account number that we're trying to take. Fine. And then let's say the schema, where from where we are going to take this is from the path, and description is basically this is the account number, and then the required is true because we this is required, right? So, and then the schema type is string, right? So we want to take as a string. Fine, and then since we are done with the parameters, the another thing is the responses. Okay, so what we are trying to return from here is like I think it would be the uh, account response. So in this case, what we can say that it would be a 200 with the description okay, and then the content would be in application.json. And okay, and the schema would be something like this. So I'm going to refer this schema as blank since we haven't defined the schema. Going back to the schema definition, we don't have any account response, so we need to add it. All right, so what we want to return as part of the account resource. So this is what we need to decide here. I think we are going to return the account number. We can return that. Okay, so the account number is the type of string, and then the example would be So this way, our APIs are more clear. So what we are taking and what you are replying back, and then the status is, I think we need to return the status as well. So in that case, what we can do as part of the status is let's do one more thing here. Okay, I think we can define the enum. So basically, we can define the enum and say that this is the reference of that. So let's define the enum first. So uh, this is the, let's say, account status that we want to return. This is the properties uh, of account status of type. We don't have any property. This is not object, so it's type of string. But we'd say that this will be the multiple values of what we want to, maybe this is the open account, or let's say we also want to add one more status, closed. Fine. So this way, we can use the account status here. So it's just like the status, and then the reference would be the same way. So it is the components schema, and then account status. So basically, the value would be account status. Fine. So we define the account resource, okay, and then I think we can just have open for now, since we don't have any closed status. So we can add that later when we are trying to have the update account endpoint. Okay, so this is fine. I think we need to add the account resource. So let's add this account resource. Okay, we define the new API, which is get of this type and this. We're going to get the account number in path, and then fine. So let's generate the code out of it, okay, and then so that we can write the actual implementation for this. So inside the controller, we are going to add one more controller, which is the account controller, and there should be the API generated, right? So let me go back to the generated source, or something like the extends account API. Yeah, and this is again not accounts, it's implements. Okay, so we need to mark this as a REST controller, and then we don't have to do anything else. So there is the get method that we need to override, and then for this, actually, we don't have any implementation, so I'll just leave it like this. Okay, so from here, we just want to return the account resource out of the account number, and then we don't have any processing in between. So what we can do is like I can simply I'm not sure we have the yeah, we have the account repository, right? So what we can do is let's go back to the account repository, JPA repository, okay, and account entity, and find by account number. What we have inside this, so it's account number. So yeah, and this is a pretty easy way to write the queries. Okay, so Spring Data JPA will do this for you. So we don't have to worry about writing the query manually, since yeah, you can check the Spring Data JPA, and then this is the way to write the query. And if even we need to write the custom queries, just in case there are so many complex queries that you need to trade with, and which is not supported by, let's say, this JPA default implementation, then we can also do that. So I added this find by account number. Fine. So if there is account mapper, what we can do is no, there is no any account mapper. We can just simply add it as account mapper, okay, which will be an interface, and this is a mapper, which is the map construct, and then component model is Spring, so that it will mark this implementation as a Spring bin, and then you need to have the account resource out of to resource out of entity, because this is simply the get operation, and then we are not doing anything now, so we don't have to worry about having middle layer. Okay, so basically I'm trying to convert the entity out to the resource, and as part of the resource we are just going to send the account number in status. That's it. So going back to the account controller, I'll just have two dependencies here, like find private final account GPA repository, where the using the repository, and then final account mapper. Okay, and normally if we have just the get operation that we are trying to directly from the database, then we don't have to have, I think we don't have to have the middle layer. Uh, we won't think one thing that is actually needed, not just to facilitate your convention, right? So yeah, basically we are just trying to return the details of the account out of the account number. So simply we can do this. We don't have to worry about anything else. If we spend entity of, let's say, the mapper, uh, GPA repository, find by account number, and then you have to map this back to the resource. So this is what we want to do here to resource. That's it. And we are done, right? So also, we can mark this as API tags. I think the API, or yeah, Swagger annotation, and then the tag, which is account. So this way it will have the of the mm, mm, grouping of the, let's say, APIs. We'll see that later. So doing this, I think we are good to go. We generated the code, we write the implementation, and then we don't have anything. It's a very straightforward implementation, right? So, okay, fine. And let's go back to this another API. So another API that we want to work here is the patch, the account patch, right? So let's open that as well. So basically it will be the same one, okay? And so that's why I'm writing the, let's say, API v1 accounts, and then the account number, and this would be the what? This will be the patch one, okay? And then the tags would be the, let's say, a oh, sorry, if we don't have to write it again, right? So basically this URL is same, so that's why we don't have to worry. As in the same, this is the patch. So tag is again same. It's account. This belongs to the account tag. And then a summary is you are going to pass, let's say, the partial update of account, and then the operation ID is patch. We can use the same thing. And then the what we need here is operation ID and summary we defined. So we need to have the property parameters. So again, parameters is same as account number. And then if you in path, right? So I want to get this information as path. Description is the account number, of course. And the required is true. And the schema is of type string. And we're done. So yes, I think as part of the paths, okay, we're also trying to have some body. So let's have the request body for this. So basically request body, what will the request body will contain? So I think we don't have to provide the description. So as part of request body, uh, we can define the, let's say, let's define the content application dot JSON, okay, and then the schema is of reference, which we're going to define. And then as part of the responses, what I will be doing is like I will be giving back 200, saying that I think 200 is there. So yeah, we don't have to, yeah, exactly. So responses 200 is there. So saying this, if this is the 200, then content would be application.json again, and the schema would be of reference, we don't know. Okay, so 200 and okay, it needs to have the description as well. Okay, fine. So let's say this is the okay. And we are done. And so basically, let's define what we are trying to return and what we are trying to get as part of this patch request. So I think for the account patch, basically, okay, and so account update request, or let's say something like that. So we are not going, not trying to give every thing to be updated. So I'll just have, I think, the status that can we can update. So if we want to change from open to close, yeah, we can, you can do that. So something like this. So properties is of let's say status of type. Okay, so I think we defined that account status, so we can use that. So the reference is the what? Reference is the same thing. It's the account status. And then here we can define the one more closed. Okay, so this is the account status. We are allowing to update the account status for the particular account. So request body would be this, and response body would be the account resource. So yeah, that would be fine. I think so. Let's copy this. Let's have it here, and as well have it here. So account update request is something that we're interested to have. So this way we keep the contract so minimal, and then the what actual information that we'll take and we'll return. Okay, so we can define as many as the request and responses classes, resource classes that we can will need. Okay, as part of 200, this is the account resource that I'm going to give you back after the patch, and this is something I'm going to take, and this is the account number that you have to provide in the path. Fine. So saying this, we're also done. And as part of the last, okay, as part of the last tags, the API accounts account number history. So let's add this as well, and then we're going to work on the things. API v1, and then the accounts, the account number, and the history. Cool. In this case, it would be a get request. Fine. So the tag would be again the account, which is fine, and the summary is get account history. So if there is any update on the account, the history will give you that. So if account is closed from open to, sorry, yeah, account is updated from open to close, then from the history we'll know that, or even any other changes into the account, that will know it. So this is the get history. We can do, yeah, get history. This is the operation ID. Actually, operation ID will be used to generate the method name in your API, which will be generated. So that's why I'm giving this. And then the parameters is same. It's the name of account number. Okay. And then is in path, of course, is not in query. And then the description is the account number, and then the required is true. Schema is again is type of string. Type of string. We define this as well. So as part of the responses, what we're going to do on this, so as part of the responses, request body responses, okay, so this would be a 200, I think, and then in the 200, the content would be something like this. The content would be application.json, of course, and then after it, what will be the content? So a schema, right? So or yeah, a schema of type. It will be the array, I think, array, because we need to have the list of account resource. Eventually it will be the list of account resource, so is area of account resource. Type array reference this one of the following properties required to provide description. Okay, so yeah, fine, description. Let's give the description of that content and the so description is okay. You got the history. So yeah, no, it's a dollar reference, not the difference. Okay, so type of array of this. Why you can't do this? Let me check. It's not allowed it. So schema of type this. So what's the problem? All right. Uh, Schema of type array and hmm, okay. Sorry. It's item, right? So once the item is declared, then we can give this. Yeah. Okay. So we define this. Let's create the code out of it, and then we'll see the things after from there. We define three different new contracts, and then we're trying to generate the code of it. I think code has been generated. All right, so let's go and implement the thing. Here we implement it, so we will be the patch or update. Okay, so patch, and this is again the account number, and this is the request. So pretty cool. And then again the get history, right? So again cool. We got this. Now it's time to implement. We have already implemented this. We need to implement the patch and we need to implement the history. So let's start from the patch. Okay. Going back to the account status, we can have another status called closed, and then we want to update that. So let's have the in the account service. Account service will do the thing. Okay, account service. So what we need to do from here is like, since we can do thing something like this. So update of account number, and for now I'm just taking the account status. All right, so status. Since we just need to update the account status for this, so I'm not including all the things. Simply implement it, and then you have the account number, so you have the repository, so go to the repository, find by account number, give it to me, and I expect have this to be present. Okay, so if what if there is no account number of that account, so in that case what we can do is like, normally I prefer to have two different types of contract. Okay, something that I expect the data should be there to do the operations for that particular kinds of contract. I keep this something like this, and I'll throw the error, or the error will occur in that case. But if the contract something like this, we can use the optional. Sorry, optional, so that okay. So this is the optional find by account number, and then going back to the problem here, yes. If this is okay, or mm, okay, so map, Okay, so if this is present, then you are going to map to the map of the to resource. So what we can do is like we'll remove this and then saying that the map mapper the to resource, right? So and then account resource and its optional account resource, or else uh, you can throw the exception, the data not found exception or something like that. So yeah, data not found exception. We can throw the, let's say, the runtime exception, saying that at least for now, data not found, or else throw. Okay, new data not found exception. So what's the problem now? Require type B. Okay, so I'll give you the supplier. Pretty cool. And then, yeah, we're throwing the data not found exception, but in that case, what we can do is like, let's do one thing. All right. In the exception handlers, let's define one more type of exception, which is data not found, so that we can data not found exception. And this extends from the runtime exception, or we can give a base so that we just need to have that base cast in our controller. Okay, so super message, and we're done. So from here, I'm going to throw this data not found exception, which is pretty fine. So new data not found exception of message what? Let's say the account number not exists, not exists. So yeah, we need to do this string format just to make sure that we are supplying the account number back. All right, we're done with this. Okay, mm, fine. So in this exception handler, let's cast that exception as well. Data not found, and then uh, do the same thing so that our error response, the poison response is similar. Cool. We done it. Now in this patch or yeah, in the patch, let's call the service. So I want to have, let's say, dependency of service as well, the account service. Okay, so this is the account service. So we are going to do the account service. Eventually it will return me the response entity of OK mapper the to resource, and then what, the service account service that update. This is the account number, and the status is account update request that get status. So we are being explicit that yeah. So in this case, since the this is the requests have different enum, and then our status is a different enum, so we can do that the account status of, let's say, value of let's change by the string. Okay, so I'll just take the name for this since they are same. Okay, so we are done with this as well. Let's go back and do the implementation for this. So once you see the implementation, we find by the account number. This is the uh, account number. Okay. Uh, Again, the same thing like return repository that find by account number, and do the map of that thing. So what we're trying to do is, mm, okay, I'll just have the yeah. Or else throw data not found exception, right? So supplier of that data, new data not found, data not found exception. So here again the same thing. So we can copy that error, or if pretty fine. If I have the data, what you are trying to do? So either you can create one private method here, okay, or if you want to, let's say, the get the account and then do the things here, you can also do that, no problem. So yeah. So return. Now you have to do the thing. So once you do the update, so there is the account, and then you are going to set the account that says status is the new status that we are trying to do, and then you will say the repository, please save this again. The account that I have just cut, and I updated the things, and then you have to return it. Okay, and you are done. So basically, the repository we try to find by number, and then if this is present, then I'm going to update the status, and I can ask for you to save it. Otherwise, I'm going to throw the exception, which is data not found. Okay, so we are done on this as well, I think. So what is the problem? No, and I'm trying to return this. So this is the my return. Okay, supplier. Sorry, copied. I think we copied, right? So what's the problem? Okay, yeah, and we are done with this. The last thing we need to implement here is the get history path. And now we want to get the history of the accounts. This will be also a pretty good one. Okay, so to do that, what we can do is there is account repository. So let's go to the account repository. Okay, and then we need to, I think there is the Spring Data Envers. We have to use that. So uh, let's search for Spring Data Envers and then Maven. Okay, so this is the dependency ne that is needed in our class path. So let's simply add it in our class path so that Spring takes care of that. So let's go back into the somewhere here. Let's replace it and then use this one. I have it inverse. Since we also want to create these JPA repositories and then hit the queries out of it, so we need this dependency. Okay, and the second thing that we need to do is like in the application, let's say payment application. I just checked back that what we need to do to enable this envers. Okay, envers repository for us is like we need to enable this envers revision repository factory bin to enable our repositories, let's say the revision repositories queries. Okay, so we are going to enable it, no problem. So basically, this is the class that we need as part of the enable JPA repository. Okay, so we'll do the enable JPA repository, something like that. Yeah, and then it will be like the repository bin factory bin class is the class that we need. And I think here as well, this already extending the JPA repository, we can revision JPA repository. Okay, the type is the account entity, of course, and then the type of account entity primary key is this, and the type of the revision entity is also long. Right, so doing that, because we have already marked this as audited, and then we have the audit table, then it will do the things for us, and we are auditing every field. Okay, so going back to our controller, Since we are just trying to get the history of this account number, first thing we have to do is like from the repository, we'll do the find by account number, which is the account number. So this will give me the uh, okay. So if this again the same thing, if this is present, then let's say something like that, or else throw the same thing, okay? Because we don't have the data, so we have to say something like this. Pretty good. Now, once we do this, we have to return the list of account resource. So if you check back the if this is present, so let's go. I found the account, okay? I found the account. In that case, sorry, map. Okay, so map that, and I found the account. So that means account is there. What is happening here? Yeah, listen. Let's call the repository to find, let's say, all revisions, right? So revision, or let's say find revisions. So this is since we're trying to find the uh, revisions for that particular account. So we'll get the ID of that account and they find the revisions, all the revisions for it. So find revisions, the account dot get ID. So this is the ID, and what it gives to me, I think, is it will give me a list of things, right? So I will just stream it and then map it to what? Okay, so stream it and map again. Let's say this is the revision. So revision dot what we have the revision dot required instance. This the revision number revision instance. No, what else we have? The that's the revision entity revision dot get entity. Yeah, I think this is something that we need, and then we are going to collect as part of the collect the to list. Okay, and now the last thing would be we need to map that this back to the account response. So to do that, we can create one method somewhere here. Okay, so it's easy to create. Let's say the account resource. Either you can iterate things from there, or you can create this method like that. So I prefer to have some method like this. It just keeps the things clean, nothing much, and can be used different places as well. Okay, so doing this, I'll just say that please return the resource of this. So to resource, mapper to resource and this, and we are done. Okay, okay, all right. This is what's the problem? Okay, no, let me check. All right. So we are trying to do the find by account number, and then the account number is this and account, and then what we're trying to do is like repository find revision this and this and that. So eventually this guy will give me the things I need. So let me just create one, yeah, and then return. Yeah, okay. I think the all right. Eventually it will give me the list of things. So yeah, to resource mapper, the to resource collect. This is it. Otherwise, I'm going to throw the exceptions for you. hmm This guy written this, and you are trying to map the things, and then this block, where is this block? And then the this block ends. Where is this block ends? Okay, maybe this is the problem. Yeah. So where this guy is ending up? No, I mean this guy. So where is the yeah? Yeah, fine. So we have the mapping. Inside the mapping, we're doing this, or else we're throwing this. So this is crazy. No. Find by account number, get the account. If you have the account, map it please and return this. Otherwise, throw this. So I don't see the problem here. Okay. And then if we just extract these things to be out, what's the problem here? What's the problem? Is this any problem? No, this is not the problem. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So let me just maybe is returning the, let me create the, what is actually is returning? Yeah, list of account resource. So return the list of account resource. Okay, sorry. Yeah, this is the thing. So response entity that okay, and then this is the body. So yeah, let me create one variable. No problem. So response entity that okay, that okay of this. So if there is no let's say history, it will just return the empty list. No problem. Okay. So yeah, I think we are done with this as well. So basically, I was just returning from here, and then it's expecting the resource entity. So that was the problem, but it wasn't saying that. Anyway, we come in a situation like this when we're working, but this is perfectly fine, right? Okay, we're done with this. I think we have added let's add uh, the test case for the method that we have added here. All right, so inside the account service test case, we don't have the test case for this. Don't we have the test case for this? I think account service test we added, right? So account service, yeah, account service test is there. Basically, test case is, let's say, the account service IMPL test, I think. So refactory the account service IMPL test. So this is the test for account service IMPL. We did it. So we done off the create. Let me add the test case of what? The update, right? So we're trying to update the thing. And then what we're trying to do is like we'll have one entity, okay, which is find by account number, and then I should give this otherwise. So basically there are two scenarios that we have to do. We have to make sure. So whatever I'm returning, I'm getting back, and then status. So status would be there, something like that. Okay, fine. So what we're trying to do here. So basically we're trying to do is like I will have one account entity. So let me just mock that account entity. Eventually, this is the account entity, Mokito dot mock that account entity dot class. All right, and then Mokito dot when repository dot find by account number. Let me define one account number. Account number is 2 because this is something we need to verify as well. Instead of doing any string, I'll do the actual value. Then return place this account entity, which is I think is in database or something like that, right? Optional of account entity. So optional of account entity. Okay. And then once we're done with this, this is the first case we are trying to do. So there is account entity, and then yeah, this guy will update things to that, and then it will return the things for me. Okay. So yeah, I think instead of mocking, let's create one private static account entity account, which is basically the account entity account. Do you have any off method there? Okay, fine. So yeah, so basically it's account of account number 2, this and that. So we can simply do that here. Account entity of account number 2, and then the balance is big decimal, that balance is 0, the currency is in arrears, And the status is, let's say the status is open. We have the entry in the database, which is this kinds of things. So whenever we do this, account number is account number. Okay. Okay, so this guy is trying to return the same entry in the database. When I insert it, then I'll try to do the service that create or update for the same account number, uh, which the status is, let's say the account is status that closed. Okay, and in that case, what would be the thing? So let me just do this and then assertance that assert true or assert that updated account that get status should be closed, right? So is equals to close account status dot close. This is the one thing that we need to verify, and also we can say that mockito dot verify. I have called this repository uh, dot save save the with that the same account, right? So the same guy will go for the save as well. And we are done with this test. So basically update let's say given account number, valid account number, let's say the valid account number when update should update status, right? So this is one test. And whenever we give the invalid account, what should happen? So whenever we give the invalid account number, it should raise the exception, right? So it should raise the data not found, raise data not found exception. So in that case, what we're going to say is that there is optional of empty. There is no data. So I think empty. There is no data, and we don't need it. And we're not also going to do any save for that. So and whenever we try to update with that account number, there is no any uh, data that has been updated. So I'll say that assertance that assert that can do the thing for us. Service that throws throws error or throws error. Do you have something like that with failed messages? No, no. The new error message. hmm I don't know if there is the return error. This is this. So let's try this. What is exactly this failed message is doing? Okay. So ascertains that actually we're ascertain that assert error. Maybe there should be a assert error exception or error. Yeah, exception of type this. So yeah, we can do this. What of type? What this guy is taking of class type this assistance assert that. Okay, let me check illegal argument exception state this and that. So basically, uh, we are trying to assert there will be an exception. So in that case, uh, no, well, we can. I think we can use the this assertion that assert error. There is no any exception of type this, but when to call this, I'm not sure. Let's say let's service dot call account number and then the account status of the closed. Okay, so update I mean. Okay, and then the assertions of assertion assert of the type data. Hmm. But this is what? Yeah, this doesn't make any sense, right? Because we are not saying this expected. No, let me just simply run this and see uh, the things for us, and then we'll update that. This will throw the error, I know, but to we are using the assert 40. So how to assert the exception in assert 40, right? So we are using the okay, so valid account number do not exist. Uh, invalid, okay. The account number do not exist. Why? Let me just check. Find by account number, then option of account entry, we're returning the value, right? So, okay, the repository that find by account number, and when this is the account number, then we're returning the account entity. So when you're trying to update this, find by account number, we're returning this update. So what's the problem? Find by account number, and we're giving this optional of this value, right? So what's the problem? Service IMPL. No, it shouldn't be the case. Optional of this. So this is the value, right? So value if equals not null. So we are giving that value. Account entity Mockit user find by account repository. So what we're doing, let's check me repository Mockit user this. Yeah. So we're doing this and then find by account number, then return optional of account number this, and when the update is account status that closed, this looks pretty fine. Let's try it. You have the account entity. Whenever you try to find this account, please give me that account. So if there's any problem with the implementation, find the account number. I'm taking the same account, and then if this is present, then it has to go here. Optional of optional of nullable of value. Yeah. So this is the account entity. This is not null. Okay. So whenever I'm trying to do this, and I'm supplying the same account number, which I have mocked, and then the service is there. So service will call the update, and part of this update, it will try to find the account number, and with this present, this will go back here. Otherwise, it will it will go back to here. Let's check the things again. No, I mean, I don't know what's the issue here exactly. Update. This guy is saying that you don't have any value. This guy is returning the empty or optional without the value. All else true. So yeah, this is mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the find by account number and then account number and then the account entity we're trying to return. So either find by account number and then I'll give you this. Okay, the account number is this. So whenever I try to do this for the same account number, yeah, account number 2 doesn't exist. So why is it throwing this error? This is crazy, right? This is crazy. Find by account number and then return of some of this empty. So this guy is not working or what? Test. before it, so it should have been mocked. hmm What actually this does? If I mock this, and then if I want to do, let's say, the repository that find by account number. So I'll just debug it. Okay. So let me just debug this. Hmm. Account entity. Yeah, I have the account entity there. No, no, no. Account entity is not. Let's say this is. Let me just calculate this. So evaluate expression. Find by evaluate. So value is optional of account entity. This guy is giving the value, which is pretty fine. So if this guy is giving the value, let me go back here and then what this guy is doing. Maybe let's do the second thing. Find by account number and account number repository this. So it does not comes here, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay, so I think I haven't mocked the shape, so that's why that was the problem. Get status. So error was Mockito dot when repository dot save uh, account entity, then return account entity. Okay, so now it should work. Seems like okay, fine. Yeah. Anyway, I was I was so surprised that this guy is not going here. Okay, it should go here, but it was going here. But since I haven't mocked this, it was returning the null, and then the result was null, and that's why it was causing something like that. Mm, okay, cool. All right, so we verified the shape call, and we can also verify that I have called this a repository dot find by account number. Okay, okay, pretty fine. So let me. So in this case, let me check how we can assert let's say the exception in assert 4z. I think assert 4z we're using. So assert j exception, right? So our this guy is yeah assert j. So what is okay? Assert that thrown by is instance of this. Assert that thrown by, but we searched for it. I think we didn't find it. So yeah, assertions that assert that thrown by. Okay, actually we looked in. So this guy, I think this should take the supplier, right? So is what? Is data not found exception? Is of type or what is of instance of data not found exception dot class. Okay, fine. So yeah, we fixed it. Uh, uh, assert for the uh, assert that throw by as well. Cool. So basically, if there is no data, it will return the empty and then it will throw that error. So I think we are good to go on this particular test case. So, and the last thing we have to add here, yes, since we have added the find by account number, what we can do is like we can add the test for that as well. So find by account number is the test that I would like to add. So to do this, I'll simply what I'll do is like I will do the account add first with some account number. So I'll take the account number, yeah, string account number. Okay. So I'll use this account number, which is actually the two. So let me just define the account number as two and use here as well, here as well. So here we don't bother. And then like once this is saved, this is perfectly fine. And once this guy is saved into our database, I would like to make sure that repository that find by account number works pretty well. Okay, so yeah, it should be let's say assert that, assert that, find by account ID. The I can do is equals to in the get at least they get uh, yeah, let's get the status is open, right? So is equals to status dot open, account status that's open. And yeah, this I'll say that the before but I think we don't have to worry since this is the test case and we're expecting that to be there, otherwise the exception will occur, which is something that we want. So let me just run this test, and then if we are good on this, then we have also added the test case for GPA as well. So this is not null, okay, fine. And then I did again. So after this, the interest would be flushed, and then you added the things, and then you try to do the things. Okay, pretty fine, right? Okay, so we added all of these things. So let me just do one more time, maybe in clean install. Do we have updated anything? I don't think we have updated anything, right, in the API. So let me just quickly run the thing. And I think we can also add the integration test to make sure of our controllers and the communication from the outside world as well. We'll start adding on that as after a couple of in next feature, okay? So let me go back in this Swagger. We have two different accounts, two different group of APIs, which is one is the account, one is the user. So currently we are creating user account out of the user. So let me just copy this mobile number and hit it out. So this guy is created, and going back to the get account, try it out. I'll fill this the account number here and try to do the things. So the status is this and this and this. And then I would like to see the history as well for this. Okay, so I will see the history first. The history is and the account number this status is open. And let's try to pass the with the status. Let's say the account number and the status is close. Pretty fine. And it will give me the status of close. And again, back go. Let's go to the back and see the history and try it out. Okay, so going back to the history and then execute it. Now I should have the two different entries of that thing. Okay, so yeah, I can also return the version or let's say the revision, something like that, uh, or even ID. Okay, as something like that to this particular revision as well. Okay, for now this is fine. These are the histories for this. We can also include the creation date, update date, this and that. Okay, so we have added three different endpoints using the OpenAPI specifications, and then we have added the code for it. So guys, I think this is it for this particular tags. Okay, I'm going to push into this 10 branch, and then I'll see you back when with some different feature next day. Thank you. See you.